in the neck to drive those old trucks. Sure, I understand your problem. I know that old rig's seen better days.
I sure wish we could get those new trucks in. It would make my job a whole lot easier. And we could move our products faster.
Well, I'm working on it, but that's a big outlay of money for a small company like ours. I don't want to rush into buying something without first checking out the market.
I saw a couple of salespeople around here the other day. What did they have to offer, Mr. Clyde?
You name it and they offered it. That's the problem right there. The more people I talk to, the more confused I get about it. One says buy a diesel and forget all the other so-called energy savers. Another suggests radials and air deflectors are the big answer to saving fuel. Who knows?
All I know is those fuel prices are going to keep going up.
That's for sure. There's no...
With fuel prices rising, truck buyers are more concerned than ever before with optimum economy and performance. The trucking industry has responded with many fuel-saving items. Air deflectors, clutched fans, radial tires, new engines, new transmissions, the list goes on and on. The economy effects of the energy savers can vary greatly, depending on driving habits, specific features of the truck, and the truck's application. The decision on what is worth buying for a particular situation has become very complicated for the truck buyer. The buyer looks to the truck sales representative for the answers. This SuperCom program will show you how to provide those answers quickly, thoroughly, and accurately by means of TCAPE, Truck Computer Analysis of Performance and Economy. The TCAPE computer has been programmed to predict performance and economy on any set of IH truck specifications. By pinpointing items which are significant in saving fuel and money, as well as those which are insignificant, TCAPE can help you provide the truck buyer with expert advice on performance and economy. This easy-to-use tool can help you provide every prospect with a vehicle that will give the performance needed with the best in long-term dollar savings. As a result, TCAPE can help you increase your truck sales. TCAPE is available in two formats. The Pioneer Terminal, located in Fort Wayne, Indiana, provides the analysis in the form of a graph. Due to the outstanding success of the program, TCAPE has expanded. Today, each of the IH regional sales offices has a portable terminal which can be used at any location where a telephone and electrical power are available. The output from the portable terminal is in a tabular form. While the information contained in the graphical and tabular formats is basically the same, the tabular format is easier to read and the service is immediate. The service from Fort Wayne is only available by mail. This program will concentrate on the tabular format as it is most commonly used. TCAPE can be used by international truck sales representatives in a number of ways. If the volume of a sale warrants it, a TCAPE engineer may accompany a sales representative to provide computer analyses during a sales meeting. Or a salesperson may request a TCAPE by telephone from the customer's office. However, the usual procedure would be for a salesperson to acquire all the necessary TCAPE information prior to meeting with a customer, a sales method which will be dramatized in this program. Due to the instability of fuel prices, the fuel economy calculations included in this program will use a hypothetical fuel cost of $1 per gallon. Variations in fuel prices will, of course, affect any economy predictions.
It'll be that easy. I'll tell you from the outset, I'm not going to rush into buying these new trucks. What with the cost of trucks these days, not to mention the cost of feeding them, I want to be sure my money's going to be well spent.
And that's what I'm here for, to show you the best way to spend your money. Like you said, there are a great many engines and transmissions on the market, not to mention all the energy-saving extras. It does get confusing. That's why International developed TCAPE, to provide accurate answers to the most important questions, like how many miles a truck is going to get to a gallon. It would be impossible for me to sit down and try and figure out exactly how much fuel you can save in your particular operation by using a diesel engine, radial tires, or any of the other energy savers. But TCAPE does all the work in just a few seconds, and you can be sure that the answers are accurate.
How much does this TCAPE cost?
Nothing. It's a free service to all our customers.
It sounds great for a machine, but my people are truck drivers. They don't drive like computers or robots.
The data stored in the TCAPE computer isn't theoretical. It's based on actual tests, and it's been subjected to a lot of testing since it's been in use, always with a very low average error.
Well, okay, you may as well go ahead and show me. But let me tell you, I've already had an earful, so don't go and try and sell me a big power truck with all those fancy extras.
I wouldn't begin to recommend trucks for your line of business without knowing something about your operation. But before we get into that, if you don't mind, let's first take a look at what you have right now.
Okay.
You have 5 tractor trailers hauling your wholesale food in, right?
Right, and 26 city trucks distributing it all over town.
First, let's take a look at the fuel mileage you're getting on your Ford tractors, and later I'll show you how that compares with the tractor I would recommend for you.
Sure, I keep close tabs on fuel mileage, let me tell you. Like I told you on the phone, right now I'm running Ford LT9000s with a Cummins 290 engine, a Fuller model RT 1110 transmission, and the rear axle, that's a Rockwell SQHD with a 4.10 ratio. The fuel mileage averages 4.32 on the highway.
And that's standard, right? No fan, no air deflector, and no radials.
Right.
So right now, are you satisfied with your fuel mileage?
It's not the best, but I think that's what you have to expect with a truck in this power range carrying these kinds of loads.
That's not necessarily the case. Using fuel-saving devices can make all the difference. Let me show you what the computer showed on the specs I would recommend for your operation. Now this is an International Model F2575 S-Line heavy-duty tractor with a Cummins Formula 290 engine, a Fuller RT 1110 transmission, and an RA 472 rear axle with a 3.73 gear ratio. This is running the truck with a GCW of 70,000 pounds. First I ran it straight with no fuel-saving extras.
The procedure for operating TCAPE is simple and straightforward. The computer asks the operator all the various items needed to analyze fuel flow, and the information is typed out on a keyboard resembling a typewriter. While most salespeople won't have to operate the computer directly, it is necessary to understand how to relay the input information to the computer operator by means of a TCAPE user input form. For an example, we will follow how our sales representative filled out an input form for a TCAPE on the truck specs suggested for Jack Clyde. An explanation of how each item affects performance is included in your workbook. The first item is the weight on the truck, as this obviously affects economy and performance. TCAPE can be run either loaded or unloaded. In this case, the truck is run loaded. This is followed by the weight on the driving axle. Next, TCAPE requires the number of revolutions per mile for the tires on the truck. This information is available in tire manuals and the IH data book. Next, the tire type, bias, radials, or a mixture of both. By reducing rolling resistance, radial tires improve economy and performance, as will be shown later. This is followed by the number of tires on the total rig, followed by frontal area, a key element in wind resistance. This is a very important factor in determining truck net power requirements. Typical frontal areas are available in convenient tables. Next is whether the truck is equipped with an air deflector, another significant item. This information is translated by the computer into the drag coefficient, a measure of the streamlining of the vehicle. In TCAPE, these drag coefficients are used. The computer then asks for the engine type. The IH code number, available in component code lists and the IH data book, must be used on the input form. The next item to be considered is whether the truck is operating with a modulated fan. The fan is the largest power drain accessory on the engine. A modulated fan saves fuel, as the fan is driven only when necessary and improves performance by increasing net horsepower. The modulated fan's beneficial effect on economy will be shown later. The next item, the transmission, should be entered, again in IH code form. The computer then asks for the IH code number of the auxiliary transmission, if one is required. Following this is the driving axle, data which is stored in IH code form. The driving axle ratio, And the final item, the truck model. Two other items, the driveline efficiency and the road surface coefficient, will be requested by the computer. However, they are self-explanatory, and it is not necessary for you to include them on the input form. The TCAPE output told our sales representative quite a lot about the specs that were drawn up for Jack Clyde. The first section of the output summarizes how the truck will perform under city, suburban, and highway conditions. The computer predicts that this truck will get 4.49 miles per gallon on the highway. The next section shows gradability and other parameters at various speeds, information which is used to assess the performance of the truck. Assessing performance means focusing on three important factors: low gear gradability, performance at highway speeds, and splits. First, low gear gradability. In order to climb ramps and highway grades, the low gears in a truck must provide sufficient reduction to facilitate moving the load. In on-off highway applications, gear reduction is even more critical. These guidelines are used to assess low gear performance. The low gear gradability of this truck is 22.5, which is adequate. Now for performance acceptability on the highway. The guidelines are summarized in this table. Most roads fall within the level road or 1% grade categories. The TCAPE output shows that this truck would be running at 41.8 miles per hour on a 1% grade, which according to the guidelines is below minimum. And it would perform satisfactorily on a level road, running at 61.1 miles per hour. A very important performance guideline is splits. This refers to the match of the engine with the transmission, measured by the percentage power level on the upshifts. The goal in matching engines and transmissions is to keep the engine operating above an 85 to 90% power level. If the gradability is less than 2.5% when getting into any gear, the split should be checked. The split is usually calculated between any of the upper gears. To calculate the split, simply divide the wheel horsepower after the upshift by the wheel horsepower before the upshift. Here the ratio is 0.874%, which is acceptable. In summary, the computer shows that the performance of this truck could be a lot better. The low gear grade is 22.5, which is adequate, as are the splits at 0.874%. But the 1% grade is poor, at only 41.8 miles per hour.
So how does the fuel mileage look on this truck you're recommending?
According to TCAPE, this truck will give you 4.49 miles per gallon on the highway. That's not bad, but it could be a lot better. I'd like to show you how we might improve on the economy and on the performance too.
You can go ahead and show me how to improve on this, but like I said earlier, I'm not ready to spend money equipping this truck with all kinds of fancy devices. I really don't think they're worth it.
It depends on the application. Energy-saving devices, modulated fans, radials, and air deflectors really do pay for themselves in some situations, but in others, their effects don't warrant their costs. What I'm going to show you is how adding the energy savers will affect the economy and performance of the truck, and then we'll take a look at how much they can save you according to how many miles your trucks drive per year. What I did was to run TCAPEs, adding on the energy savers individually. I put the results down on this TCAPE summary form so that we can compare them easier. I started out with the information you gave me on the performance of your Ford truck, and then added the information on the truck I would recommend for you, the F2575 with the Formula 290 engine. This comes standard with the modulated fan. Then I ran the same specs, but this time adding an air deflector. You can see that this improves your fuel mileage and improves performance. Minutes lost per hour are reduced, and performance on a 1% grade is a lot better. Next, I added radial tires, and you can see that raises your fuel mileage all over again.
Yeah, I see that, but still, are these devices really going to pay for themselves?
Before we go into that, let me show you another way to go. I also ran TCAPEs on the same model truck, but with a different transmission and an engine with lower power.
I really don't think I'd be interested in that. My people want all the power they can get. I'm not about to try and save money that way.
The truck I'm going to show you won't have less performance. It'll give you as much as you need for your operation, at the same time giving you better economy. The engine is a Detroit diesel 6V 92TT. That's 270 horsepower. The transmission is a Fuller RT 9509, and the driving axle and driving axle ratio are the same as before. This too comes standard with a modulated fan. Here's what TCAPE came up with, running it straight with no extras. As you can see, if you compare this with the other truck, the first one here, you can see that your fuel mileage is better and your performance is better on a 1% grade. Now I did the same as before, adding first an air deflector and then adding radials. You can see that your fuel economy on the highway has really been boosted here, and your performance is even better than the truck with the higher horsepower engine.
What can I say? You and the TCAPE information have convinced me to consider the lower horsepower engine. But the extras, I'm still not sure that they're going to save me money in the long run.
I know, and I've already figured that out for you.
Sounds nice, but I'd really like to see how you did that.
Okay, it's pretty simple. To calculate the amount of money a fuel savings device can save you, you use this equation. MPG low is fuel economy without the device, and MPG high is fuel economy with the device. Obviously, right now it's hard to project what you're going to be paying for diesel fuel, especially since prices vary across the country anyway. So I use the figure of $1 per gallon as a round figure. Let me calculate the payback on the air deflector to show you how easy it is. The amount you save per year is 100,000 miles per year times $1 divided by 4.66, minus 100,000 miles per year times $1 divided by 5.39, which comes out to $2,907. To calculate payback, you use this equation, simply dividing the cost of the fuel savings device by the dollars saved per year. So the payback on the air deflector is 0.095 years, or just over a month. I did the same thing with the radials, and this is what I came up with. You can see that the extra outlay of money for these energy savers is definitely a good idea. They'll pay for themselves in no time, and will continue to save you a lot of money in fuel, although of course variations in fuel prices will affect these figures. And if the price of fuel climbs higher than $1, then the energy saving devices are going to pay for themselves in even less time than I've shown here.
Right. You know, it's really great to get some solid, reliable information and not just someone's sales pitch.
Like I said, that's what I'm here for, to help you get the best value for your money. Let's take a look now at the city trucks you're interested in. For comparison purposes, I noted down the average fuel mileage you told me you're getting with your Ford LN700 truck with a 360 cubic inch V8 gasoline engine. I think we can do a whole lot to improve that mileage. And for the kind of use you have for these trucks, delivering your products around town, you really don't need all that horsepower, as it's rare that you're driving much above 35. I would suggest that you consider changing to a diesel engine for a start. I think you'll see that the effect on fuel economy really justifies it in this case. Let's take a look at what TCAPE predicts. I had a TCAPE run on an International S-Line medium-duty truck with a DT466 diesel engine rated at 180 horsepower, a Spicer CM5052A transmission, and a 2-speed rear axle, an RA199 with an 18,500 pound capacity. You can see that your mileage is already a lot better. One by one, I added radials, air deflector, and a modulated fan. And the picture looks even better.
Sure, but let's not forget that a diesel engine costs another $5,000.
Before looking at the payback, let me suggest another alternative. You still have more than enough power with this combination. If you went with a lower horsepower engine, I think you'd find that the performance would be more than adequate for the kind of job the truck will be doing, and your fuel mileage will be even better.
I know, you have a TCAPE to prove it.
Yes, and the results are right here on the summary form. This is the same combination of transmission and rear axle, only this is a DT466 160 horsepower engine.
More than 8 miles per gallon in the city. Certainly beats what I'm getting now.
Right, more than double the economy. Now, let's look at the payback on the diesel engine and the other fuel savers. I already worked these out, and this is what I came up with.
Looks good to me. Of course, I'm not going to make any snap decisions, But I tell you, you really seem to know what you're talking about. And this TCAPE program has really turned me around about the value of fuel-saving devices. It really makes me feel confident that I know just what I'm going to get from the truck I buy. Now, you just let me look over all this stuff, and you come back and see me before the end of the week.
Understanding how to use TCAPE to give your customers concrete answers on saving energy with fuel-saving devices can help you make all of your sales as successful as this one turned out to be. A couple of days later, this sales representative wound up the sale, providing Jack Clyde with 1 tractor and 3 city trucks, all fully equipped with fuel-saving extras, diesel engines, radial tires, air deflectors, and modulated fans. Following this program, take a few minutes to look at your Performance Selection Workbook, where all of the essential information about this valuable selling tool has been summarized in a few easy exercises. Energy-saving devices, air deflectors, modulated fans, and radial tires almost always result in better fuel mileage. Another important influence on fuel economy is the truck driver. The way in which a truck is driven can have a significant impact on fuel consumption. Many owners try to encourage drivers to operate their trucks more efficiently by limiting road speed. However, this is a difficult restriction to enforce. In response to the known difficulty of controlling the driver's operation, engine, axle, and transmission manufacturers have developed drivetrain components which allow engine design to restrict the operation of an engine to its more efficient operating range. Common examples of this type of engine are the Cummins Formula engine and the Detroit Diesel Fuel Squeezer engine. By limiting the operating range of the engine, a higher level of assurance is offered to the owner and operator that the truck is being driven in the most fuel-efficient operating range. Similar economies can be obtained from engines which are not restricted in their operating ranges, provided driver discipline is exercised in an effort to reduce fuel consumption and keep operating costs under control.